I guess the $20 million deal is off, the client's representative told me on the day of the crucial negotiation. Our company's fate depended on it. Perhaps I shouldn't have gotten involved with that woman in the first place. It's too late now, even if I think that way. This hopeless situation won't change. As I was about to leave the venue, I was stunned by the shocking words I heard. My name is Eric Johnson. I'm a 25-year-old medical sales representative, MSR, working for a pharmaceutical company. As an employee, I visit healthcare professionals to provide information about our medicines and try to get them to use our products. I feel like I'm doing my best, but my reputation with my boss is terrible. Why? Because my sales performance is far from good, to put it mildly. Every time my results are so low, you'd be faster counting from the bottom. My boss never misses a chance to make snide remarks about it. Naturally, from the company perspective, the more of our medicines they buy, the better. But I had doubts about just blindly going after sales and getting results. Our company has many talented people, and there are countless folks I could never beat in sales performance, no matter how hard I try. But I never wanted to compete with them in the first place. If my results are poor, I could even get fired. Still, I wanted our medicines to be purchased where they're truly needed. Building good relationships with clients and earning their trust is crucial. I want them to understand the effects and benefits of our products and make informed decisions to do business with us. You've got a gloomy look on your face. I don't mean to look that way. We haven't seen each other in a while, but you seem down. Do you think I'm too nice? Come on, you're like the type who goes around wearing a shirt that says Mr. Nice Guy. I'm not that bad. Even I can be cold-hearted at times. Okay then, give me an example of when you were so cold-hearted. Well, see, no matter how hard you try to act, there's no way you could do that. Eric. I guess you're right. Are you worried about something? Fine, I'll hear you out. No, well, what do you think about this sales above all else mentality? Whoa, are you about to launch into some criticism of capitalism? Don't make fun of me after asking. Forget it. Never mind. I don't know what happened, but I don't think you're cut out for the money is everything approach, though I think that's something you can be proud of. As my cousin said, I can perhaps be proud of that as a person. But at our company, sales are everything. So it was inevitable that Paul Kennedy, the sales director, would come to make snide remarks again about my sales numbers this month. Eric, looks like your sales performance was poor again this month. I'm very sorry, sir. This is troubling. You haven't ranked near the top even once since joining the company, have you? I have no excuse. No need to apologize. But you know, it'd be good if you could deliver some results soon. It's a bit of an issue for the company. I understand. You say that every time, but do you really understand? That's easier said than done. You know that's true. But I don't enjoy saying these things either. It's just that your performance is so terrible. I have no choice but to say something. He speaks politely, but I can't help but sense the occasional undercurrent of condescension. He always picks on me like this, making me feel really awful. I was satisfied with my own work. My relationships with clients are excellent, and we've built mutual trust. I can say with certainty that if I had only focused on increasing sales, things would never have turned out this way. Then I got a call from a client representative I'm close with. Thanks for your continued support. Is something the matter? Are you having any troubles? No, not at all. I'm truly grateful for how well you always treat me, Mr. Johnson. Oh, come on. I'm flattered. Thank you. Today, I wanted to let you know about something. If you're interested, what might that be? I'm acquainted with a representative at a well-known university hospital. I happened to mention you to that person. You talked about me? Yes. You see, this university rep really values character. They asked me if I knew anyone like that. I see. You not only care about me as a client, but also the patients who actually use the medications. Of course. My job is to sell pharmaceuticals to healthcare providers, but ultimately, what matters is whether the patients can have a comfortable experience. That should go without saying, but some folks only care about selling medicines. If anything, that's the majority. I had a personal experience. I see. It's too personal, so I'll refrain from going into details. Got it. Anyway, you were the first person who came to mind. One thing led to another, and now they want to request a business meeting with you. Really? I'm honored. I'll give you their contact info, so try reaching out to them directly. Thank you so much. I promptly called the number they gave me and arranged to speak directly with the university rep. I earnestly conveyed information about the medications, how I think relationships should be in my work approach. Unexpectedly, my words seemed to resonate with the university rep. They offered me a business deal worth $20 million. Determined not to let this chance slip away, I vowed to prepare thoroughly from morning to night. Having received the offer, I decided to go home. A bit bitterly, that day, to put together materials. I had already gathered information at the office. I wanted to focus on compiling documents at home. I tend to get distracted when people are around, so I make a point of assembling materials at home when it's really important. Wanting to get home as quickly as possible, I decided to take a shortcut that would get me there about 10 minutes faster. Although it was a bit dark, while I was still motivated to devote everything to my work, I turned into the back alley. In the dim light of the street lamps, I noticed a woman walking ahead of me. I figured there would naturally be some people out since it was a public road, but she seemed to be staggering, which worried me. As I passed by the woman, I got a glimpse of her face and profile and was shocked by how beautiful she was. My fatigue vanished, but she didn't seem to be feeling very well. I thought about asking, "Are you okay?" but figured she might get scared being spoken to by a man in such a dark place. With that in mind, I passed by the woman. Right after that, I heard a thud. When I instinctively turned around, the woman was just about to fall forward. At that moment, without thinking, I called out to the woman, "Watch out," and managed to catch her body before she fell. This time, I asked, earnestly, "Are you all right?" She mumbled, "I'm sorry," in a faint voice, then immediately lost consciousness. I was pretty fled inside, but somehow calmed myself. I quickly checked her pulse and found her blood pressure was clearly low. Holding my hand over her mouth and nose, I felt a bit relieved that she seemed to be breathing, but she might be in shock. Just to be safe, I decided to call an ambulance. When I went out to the main street, an ambulance happened to be driving this way. I ran out into the lane the ambulance was in and opened my arms wide. There was a considerable distance, so I wasn't worried about getting hit. Still, the paramedic who got out of the ambulance yelled at me, "What are you doing? That's dangerous." But I didn't have a moment of worrying about that. "This woman suddenly collapsed just now. Could you take her to the hospital?" I said, forgetting about me. The paramedic immediately went over to the woman and checked her pulse and such. Then he swiftly loaded her into the ambulance, which sped off with its siren blaring. I watched the ambulance until it disappeared from view. I was worried about that beautiful woman, but we were just strangers when it came down to it. So, while praying for her safety, I decided to focus all my attention on preparing for tomorrow's crucial business meeting. I mean, it was a $20 million deal. If I didn't give my all for this meeting, then when would I? Naturally, word of this major deal spread throughout the company. Of course, it reached for Kennedy's ears too. He appeared out of nowhere just as I was about to head home. Well, you brought in a big business deal. Where did this opportunity come from?" he asked. "It came about through someone at the company I'm in charge of, whom you're also familiar with, Director," I replied. "No matter how much I think about it, I can't believe you're capable of handling such a big negotiation," he said. "What do you mean? Now, don't get so upset, but it's true, isn't it? Your sales performance is abysmal. I'd never expect this, he continued. The university rep for the business deal said my sincere attitude is excellent, and they wanted to work with me, I retorted. Sincere? Huh? Don't think you fall for something that doesn't even make money. A big job is wasted on someone like you with no ability, he said. What are you trying to say? I asked, feeling a mixture of frustration and confusion. Honestly, the fate of our company rests on this deal. Do you really think you can pull it off? He challenged. Right now, all I'm thinking about is putting everything into making this deal a success, I replied firmly. Is that so? Very well. But remember what will happen if this deal falls through, he warned ominously. Director Kennedy stared at my face expressionlessly for a while, then walked off somewhere. I had only slept for 3 hours because I was putting the materials together until the last minute. I considered pulling an all-nighter, but was afraid I might screw up during the meeting if my head wasn't clear. So, I got at least a little sleep. I quickly got ready and left for the university hospital where the meeting would be held, aiming to arrive an hour early. There was no guarantee a train delay wouldn't happen if some unforeseen circumstances arose today of all days. I absolutely could not be late. The trains ran on schedule without incident, and I safely arrived at the university hospital reception an hour early. I told the receptionist I had an appointment. She said, "Please wait a moment while I confirm." But something felt off. The receptionist was sneaking glances at my face while whispering on the phone with someone. Has some problem come up? Had I gotten the scheduled time wrong? But no matter how many times I double-checked, I could only reconfirm the fact that I had definitely arrived an hour early. Having something like this happen before a meeting naturally made me anxious. Even though I hadn't messed up, I started to feel like I had. After about 5 minutes, the call ended. I was told, "Please have a seat and wait until the scheduled time." I did as instructed. When the appointed time came, the receptionist guided me to the parlor where the meeting would be held. As she opened the door, there was the beautiful woman I had helped yesterday, waiting with a cheery smile. I was surprised to realize the person who had proposed this business deal was her. What an incredible coincidence, I thought, and was about to say so out loud. But the moment she saw my face, her expression clearly soured. I quickly replayed my actions, wondering if I had done something rude in this short time. No, could it have been when I helped her yesterday? But I couldn't think of anything at all. Feeling uneasy, I sat in the chair indicated and waited to see what the beauty would do. I was on pins and needles, worried she might abruptly say the deal was off. "Thank you for helping me yesterday. I'm so glad to see her doing well," she said. "My name is Madison Hanson. You really saved me. It's all thanks to you. How are you feeling?" She continued. "Thanks to you, I'm all right now. I collapsed due to low blood pressure and caused you concern. I'm so glad you're okay," I replied, heart pounding. I continued the conversation with Miss Hanson, feeling my way, but I caught glimpses of cold emotions from time to time. I was literally gripped by fear. Why was she talking to me like this? When we set the meeting date over the phone, she was so cheerful and personable. What on earth happened? No, maybe I made some terrible blunder without realizing it. Anxiety welled up, one after another. I was in no mental state to have a business meeting. As if seeing right through me, she suddenly said, "I guess the $20 million deal is off after all." She was clearly angry about something. I thought I must have done something to her. Feeling like I'd been hit in the temple with a bat, I managed to squeeze out the words, "I'm very sorry." Then, feeling dizzy, I got up from my chair and tried to leave. "Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take it out on you," she said, stopping me in my tracks. Hearing those words, I had no idea what she was apologizing for. "I'm sorry for causing a misunderstanding. You're Eric Johnson, right?" Suddenly hearing my name, I still couldn't see how any of this connected. Come to think of it, I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Madison Hanson. Please have a seat. For now, my mind not functioning, I sat in a chair like a puppet as instructed. I wasn't angry at you, still confused. I had no idea how to respond even after hearing that. Perhaps because I had such a dumbfounded look on my face, Miss Hanson started laughing as if she couldn't pull back anymore. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. If I were you, I would have frozen up the same way. What is going on? I'm still confused. That's understandable. I invited you here to talk business, then I went and took my anger out on you. Clearing her throat, Miss Hanson began to explain. The person I was angry at was your boss, Mr. Kennedy. Now I'm even more lost. What is my company's Mr. Kennedy coming up? Actually, before you came for the meeting, I received an email from Mr. Kennedy. That happened. I had no idea. That email was full of slander against you. What kinds of things did it say? Do you really want to know? I don't think it'll be pleasant to hear. Please tell me. All right. I don't really want to say it out loud, so I'll show you directly. Miss Hanson opened the laptop next to her and showed me the email she said was from Director Kennedy. It maintained blatant hostility toward me. It was full of nothing but attempts to undermine me, no matter how much closing this deal would raise my status. I never thought he'd go this far. At the same time, I realized he must be absolutely furious to do something like this. If he were calm, he wouldn't pull such a risky stunt that could jeopardize his own position if found out. Doing this suggests he's lost the ability to judge rationally. My anger gave way to a loss of strength at the sheer idiocy of it. What came through overwhelmingly from this message was a strong determination to prevent me from getting credit, no matter what. In a greedy ego wanting to claim that credit for himself pervaded every corner of the text. It even felt grotesque. Particularly notable was how he persistently pressured Miss Hanson using various wordings that the deal couldn't be entrusted to me, so she should rethink it right away and make him the representative. In any case, it was clear he had sent this obstructive email out of malice, displeased by the idea of me getting credit. Thank you for showing me this, was sent before you arrived. It's a bit unbelievable, isn't it? It is. I knew I was disliked, but having ill will exposed to this degree is disgusting. Mr. Johnson, you have every right to be angrier. This is unacceptable. Maybe so. Maybe I should be angrier. But I still haven't shaken the misunderstanding that your anger was directed at me. I'm truly sorry about that. Then I'll be mad on your behalf. I apologize for my boss pulling such an outrageous stunt. You have absolutely nothing to apologize for. You saved my life. Of course I'd get angry if the person who did that was spoken about this way. Thank you for getting so angry for my sake. Do you know the phone number of the person who sent the email? Please tell me. Don't tell me you're going to call him directly. Of course I am. I won't be satisfied otherwise. Taken aback by her intensity, I quickly took out my phone, looked up Director Kennedy's cell number, and handed it to Miss Hanson. She then took out her own phone and swiftly dialed the number. Miss Hanson put it on speaker so Director Kennedy's voice could be heard. Hello, who is this? Hello. Thank you for your email this morning. Ah, so you saw it. You understand now, right, how terrible the situation is. Yes, I truly understand how rotten you are to the core. Kennedy continued speaking excitedly, as if feeling victorious. Eric is utterly incapable and pathetic. What the heck are you saying? I'm very sorry. Sorry, the connection must be bad. I couldn't hear you well. Never mind that. Don't worry about it. Since you called, am I correct in assuming you're fine with me being the representative? I've changed my mind. The $20 million deal is off after all. What do you mean? Don't tell me Eric screwed something up. I'll take appropriate measures. So about the deal, I'm canceling the deal because you're extremely unpleasant. You and Mr. Johnson are worlds apart in character. Don't lump yourselves together. I'm sorry. The connection seems bad again. Could you repeat that? I'm saying it's the lowest of the low to badmouth someone behind their back and try to undermine them like you're doing. Wait a minute. I was thinking of what's best for you. Please don't give me that for your sake nonsense. It gives me goosebumps. In any case, you are too offensive, so the deal is over. Having said her piece, Miss Hanson hung up while Director Kennedy was still talking. I finally feel a little better now. Miss Hanson smiled pleasantly as she said that. It felt amazing to hear Miss Hanson tell off Kennedy. As I listened to Kennedy's voice, my emotions gradually returned, and I got angry. But I felt relieved that Miss Hanson had thoroughly chewed him out. That said, the deal was undoubtedly off because of Kennedy. I sincerely apologize for my company's director causing you distress. I hated apologizing deeply for someone like him, but I had no choice since he had caused trouble as a member of the company. Then I went to excuse myself and leave. Wait a minute. You have no reason whatsoever to apologize. No, but someone from my company inconvenienced you, so I have to apologize. I understand. I accept your apology, but I still want to discuss the deal with you. Really? Yes. From the moment I heard about you, I thought you had a wonderful character. Oh, that's right. The representative at our client company told you about me? Exactly. When you get down to it, I feel MSRs tend to get caught up in profits. I can't deny that. But you seem to care about not only the client companies, but also the patients who are the end users of the medicines. Yes. If we forget the patients, it starts to feel like we're just chasing profits. That's what I think is so great about you, Mr. Johnson. That's why I proposed this deal. Being praised so frankly, I was at a loss for how to respond. At the same time, I felt that sticking to my convictions had been the right thing to do. Silence flowed between us for a while. Then Miss Hanson spoke. Why did you help me at that time? When someone collapses in front of me, I'll try to help no matter who they are. That's my belief. You've held that belief for a long time, haven't you? I have. Do you mind if I share something personal? Please, go ahead. I had a very close friend. At least I thought of him as my best friend. That friend had been undergoing treatment for a serious illness for a long time, but he passed away because the medicine development didn't make it in time. Ever since then, I've been working as an MSR at a pharmaceutical company with the sole desire to somehow help people suffering before my eyes. So when you collapsed in front of me, Miss Hanson, helping was the only option in my mind. That's why. Thank you for sharing that. It makes me want to work with you even more. Sorry for going on so long. Not at all. By the way, not to brag, but I'm the director's daughter at this hospital. I've earned a lot of trust, and now I have considerable authority. This isn't a suggestion, but a request. Would you please agree to a $60 million deal? I sealed a $60 million deal with Miss Hanson. My reputation at the company skyrocketed in no time. Of course it did. I had always been nearly dead last in sales, but now I had landed an incredible contract. As for what happened to Director Kennedy, I showed the email sent to Miss Hanson to my company's CO as evidence. He was fired in the blink of an eye. It goes to show that people who try to undermine others behind their backs end up falling for themselves. I hear he can barely afford to eat these days. That's karma. After securing the $60 million deal, word of my character spread far and wide. Now I'm considered one of the most important people at the company. Miss Hanson and I started seeing each other in private, and now we're boyfriend and girlfriend. One time when Miss Hanson and I were having dinner out, we ran into my cousin by chance. We bumped into each other right as my cousin and someone who seemed to be her boyfriend were coming out of a high-end Italian restaurant. My cousin looked back and forth between my face and Miss Hanson's for a while, then said, Feeling a bit awkward, I blurted out, "What's with that? Don't stare so hard." Miss Hanson had a puzzled look, asking, "Who is this woman?" So I hardly introduced her as my cousin. My cousin muttered that she didn't want to intrude. Oh, but hang on, she said, and asked Miss Hanson a question. Don't you think he's unbelievably nice? Almost shockingly so. That's what I love about him. I truly respect him from the bottom of my heart. Seeing Miss Hanson state that to my cousin without any embarrassment, I made a firm vow in my heart to always protect her from now on.